Are you frustrated with tracking macros? Because at the end of the day, they can be all over the place. So I mean, like, you check dinner time and you're like, great, how many calories do I left for dinner, right? And it's like, wow, I'm almost out of calories. I'm under protein, over carbs, zero fiber. What am I supposed to do? It's like, what food will fit into here best and their best? And it's just a mess. And then that can be one of the reasons we are intimidated or overwhelmed and don't want to track any longer. So I'm gonna give you a couple tips and tricks to make this easier. So first, it kind of comes down to planning ahead. Now, sometimes we find that we track as we go. I used to do that. This applies if you're tracking just calories, this applies if you're tracking just protein, or all of your macros, which is your protein, your carbs, and your fats, right? I used to just track as I went. So I would fix my breakfast, I'd weigh, measure everything, put it in the app. Oh, that's how many calories it is. Okay. Then I'd log my snack, I'd log my lunch all the way through dinner, and then I get to the end of the night and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm way over or under, usually over, right? Under on protein. Sometimes I get 3/4 through the day and I realize I'm literally almost out of calories, right? Because I just kind of tracked as I went. Now, tracking is an amazing tool to tell us what our habits currently look like, right? Are we under eating, overeating? That will let us know we're not going to reach our goal, right? Of whatever body fat loss or strength gains that you want to be, right? Those are the results we get as these habits are adjusted. So it is a great tool. With that said, the suggestion that I have to make all of that easier, so you're not struggling and frustrated at the end of the night because the numbers are all over the place, is pre-plan what you're going to eat. This will also take care of snacking that we didn't plan, unplanned grazing. It takes away the element of like, what am I supposed to eat? What do I do? So we just go grab convenience foods or whatever happens to be the closest to us, right? You have a whole plan, and it's much easier to stick to that plan and stay within your calorie goals if you log all of your information and your nutrition, food for that day, the night before. So you're going to have your tracking app, right? Whatever you choose to use. And you're going to sit there and you're going to kind of put some things together. Now, let's say you have 1,500 calories for the day. You're going to first, the night before, you're going to first look at what is my treat going to be for tomorrow. Personally, I always log my treat first because I want to take the most important foods out of those calories first. So I don't know, whatever the treat is, ice cream or I don't know, cookie, whatever it is that I want for the day. So then I load that into my calorie goal, right? My plan for the following day, because it's at night now. And then I'm like, okay, great. So I had 1,500, that took it down to 1,425. Okay, it was a pretty small one. It's a pretty small treat. So then it's like, what do I want to do for my protein? Because that's the second thing I always look at. So then I add, okay, well, I know I'm going to have a protein shake and I always have a protein bar. Those are my two favorite things. So I scan them, I enter them right for that next day. Now we're dropped down, instead of 1,500 total, and maybe I'm at 1,100 now. So I'm like, okay, I have 1,100 calories to figure out how much my dinner, lunch, breakfast should be. And then if I decide that I want another snack. So what I'd suggest is, this takes a little bit of time, but I promise it will save you like years worth of pain. We're gonna get on a piece of paper, or however you wanna do it, all of our favorite dinners, lunches, breakfasts, and snacks. And you can even do this for places that you eat out at, right? So you're going to create a sheet with your dinners and everything else separately that is a numbers, right? You have all the numbers down, so you don't ever have to guess, how do the numbers all fit? Because that's like a plug and play. So I want you to track your favorite dinners, and meal one, dinner one, you're gonna note this many calories, this many grams of protein. And then if you track full macros, then you'll track all carbs, fats, protein, right? And then the total. And then you'll go to the second dinner, the same thing, the third, the fourth, fifth, all of your favorite dinners you rotate between. Now again, it will take a few minutes to log those the first time and get what the numbers and serving sizes are. But once you have them, you have them. So now you have a list of all of your dinners. So when you're plugging in the night before for your following day, you can decide, I'm looking at all these meals. I want a higher calorie dinner, I'll have a lower calorie lunch. So you check through all of your meals that you have and you choose one that's higher calorie, and then you plug it in because it's already saved in your app. And then you go to what's next, okay, lunch. So you look at your sheet of paper that has all of your favorite lunches on there, and you can find one according to the macro, like the total calorie goal or the protein goal. And then you can say, that's what I'm gonna have for lunch, right? So then you add that into the app, and it should be already a pre-saved meal also in your app. I just like them all on a piece of paper because then I can get a better visual of all that I'm looking at. So then you move that into lunch, right? Now you may say, oh, wow, I've got like 250 calories left for lunch or for breakfast after I add that lunch. I don't want that high calorie lunch. So then you delete that, right? It's the night before, you can do this. So then you pull a lower calorie lunch, plug that in. Oh, great, that leaves me 400 calories. Then you look at your breakfast and you decide, I want a lower calorie breakfast because I want another snack. Or nope, I don't want any snacks, I can have this higher calorie breakfast. So you just plug and play, like if I put this dinner and it takes that many calories, it leaves me that much for lunch, okay, well now I can have that snack. And then you think ahead, I'm gonna be on the road, so I'm gonna have some convenient snacks and foods. What would those be? Plug those in. Oh, I'm in meetings all day, so I'm gonna be starving, so I'm gonna want a really big meal later, or I'll bring a snack in between, right? You just think ahead, pre-plan it, and put it all in. And then it's gonna set you up for success, because the biggest problem is we get to the next day and you're like, what am I gonna eat? So if we're in a hurry, we eat food we probably wouldn't eat in that pinch, right? Or we stop and get fast food and we wouldn't have otherwise done that. Also with snacking, if we know ahead, in my plan, I've allotted for 2 small cookies. I tend to be a grazer. So every time I walk by, I'm gonna pull another one and another one and another one. They're there, I know I'm gonna keep eating them, right? But when I pre-plan and log my food and I see how everything fits so beautifully, it's an amazing tool, because it will help me only eat what I've put in, because I have a visual of, I've calculated 2 guilt-free cookies, they're within my calories. But if I eat a third, crap, now I'm in a surplus, right? I'm gonna gain calories, I'm in a surplus. Well, that's not gonna help me reach my fat loss, right? Result that I want. So I'm not gonna eat that third cookie, because I see that it's out of my area of how much I can eat for the day. So it's a really good visual, instead of like, well, I don't know how much I've eaten today, I'm just gonna have a third cookie. I don't think I had a very high calorie breakfast, so I can have a third cookie. I can have a 4th cookie, right? But when we know everything's logged and planned, you're like, nope, that's not on the list. I only allowed myself 2. Nuts is another thing that's really, really easy to overeat. So if you plan that the night before, you know, because you know how many calories you have, you only do 1/4 cup, let's say, of nuts that day, because that's all that fits in the calories for you. So you go downstairs that night, pull out your bag of nuts, and you pull out and measure, right, weigh 1/4 cup of nuts. Now you've got the weight, you know exactly how much it is, stick it in a Ziploc bag. Do that a couple times in a row. You've got 5, 6 Ziploc bags. Now get rid of the container that's now empty, because all your nuts are in the Ziploc bags, and put the Ziploc bags in the cupboard. So the next day you know to grab a Ziploc bag, because otherwise if we tend to grab, like, just fill a whole Ziploc full of nuts and you're like, I'm just gonna have a handful or 2. Well, fats add up very, very quickly. And so you want to pre-plan how much you're going to eat, especially in that moment. If you're stressed or tired, you're going to even want more, right? But now we're just going to grab a Ziploc bag and we're ready to go, right? We've already predetermined what we want to do, because in the moment we're going to have sugar cravings, right? We've got some addictions to certain foods. We're not going to make the best decision. I've been there many, many times. It is so hard to say no to certain sugary foods, right? But when we have it all planned out and mapped out, we know what we're wanting to eat. We're setting ourselves up for success and not overeating, right? Which then puts us out in a surplus. We're not reaching our fat loss goals. It's so much easier. And that's how you're gonna also overcome snacking, right? If you wanna go from 6 snacks to 5 and then to 4, when you plug everything in, you allow yourself how many you'd like, but within the range of calories for your goal. So hopefully that helps, as far as one tip, instead of the awfulness, horror of going all day and tracking as you go and getting to the end of the night and realize you can't eat anything for the last 5 hours because you've overeaten throughout the day, right? Set yourself up for success the night before. And that's gonna be so much easier. You won't feel as overwhelmed and you're more likely to stick with it.